Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. Now, in our last one, we tackled DNS and figured out how domain names get translated into those machine-readable IP addresses, right? Well, today, we're zooming in on another piece of everyday networking magic. Think about it. You walk into a room, you connect your phone, your laptop, or, your smart TV to the Wi-Fi, and boom, it just connects instantly. You literally never sit there typing out an IP address to get online.
Okay, let's dive into this core mystery. How exactly does your device automatically get an IP address the second you join a network? Like, who's actually handing out that address? How does the network know which one to give you? And seriously, how on earth does the whole system avoid handing the exact same address to two different devices at the same time?
So here is our roadmap for today. We're going to break this invisible magic down into bite-sized, logical pieces. 1. The instant connection mystery. 2. Meet DHCP, the receptionist. 3. The DORA communication flow. 4. Address pools and leases. 5. Static versus dynamic addresses. And finally, 6. The big picture of automation.
Starting off with Section 1, the instant connection mystery, the manual configuration problem.
Okay, so we all know every single device on a network needs an IP address, right? It's basically its network identity. No ID, no communication. Simple as that. But man, before automation, this was a massive pain point. Picture this, a company with 5,000 employee laptops. If the IT admins had to manually give out network identities, someone would have to physically go to every single laptop and manually type out the IP address, the subnet mask, the gateway, the DNS settings, the whole shebang. And then imagine continuously adding new hires or replacing broken laptops. It would literally be a full-time nightmare. And that right there proves exactly why we desperately needed network automation.
Which brings us to Section 2, Meet DHCP, the network receptionist.
Let me introduce the actual hero of our explainer today, the protocol that completely solves that manual configuration nightmare and makes true plug-and-play networking a reality. Enter DHCP. That stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. Its entire job is brilliantly simple. It automatically assigns network configurations to devices joining a network. Usually, there's a specific device acting as the DHCP server, managing all this. At home, that's almost always your Wi-Fi router. In a big corporate office, it's a dedicated enterprise server doing the heavy lifting.
And this brilliantly illustrates the concept. Think of it just like checking into a hotel. When you walk up to the hotel receptionist, they hand you a room number, the Wi-Fi password, an access card, and tell you your checkout time, right? You didn't manually pick any of those resources. The system just allocated them based on what was available. Well, a DHCP server does the exact same thing for your phone or laptop. The second you connect, it automatically hands you your IP address, your subnet mask, your default gateway, and your lease duration.
All right, moving to Section 3, the DORA communication flow, how devices and servers talk.
So how do your device and the server actually pull this off behind the scenes? Let's break the technical handshake down into 4 modular, really easy to understand steps. The whole rapid-fire conversation your laptop has with the router is called the DORA process. That's D-O-R-A. Discover, offer, request, and acknowledge. It's a sequence that happens one right after the other, usually in just a blink of an eye.
It all kicks off with the discover step. See, your laptop doesn't have an IP address yet, so it can't communicate normally. Instead, it sends out what's called a broadcast message. Broadcasting is essentially sending a message to every single device on the local network. It's like your laptop walks into a crowded room and shouts, "Hey, is there a DHCP server in here?" The server hears that, checks for an unused address, and sends back an offer. Then your laptop sends a request, basically saying, "Awesome, I'll formally accept that specific address, please." And finally, the server replies with an acknowledge message, confirming the whole assignment is officially yours.
Section 4, address pools and leases, managing the network.
Now that we've got the DORA conversation down, let's look at how the server actually keeps all this organized. First off, ask yourself this critical question. What happens if two devices somehow get the exact same IP address? Well, that creates what we call an IP conflict, and it's really bad news. Two devices simply cannot reliably share identical network identities. Communication would completely break down. This is exactly why a network absolutely unequivocally requires unique identities for everyone.
So the crucial point is that DHCP prevents these conflicts by using something called an address pool.
This is a specific collection of available IP addresses, say everything from 192.168.1.100 up to 192.168.1.200, and it's strictly managed by the DHCP server. The server carefully tracks every single assignment and only deals out unique addresses from this dedicated, predefined pool. No duplicates, ever. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that these assigned addresses aren't permanent. Not at all. They're handed out as a DHCP lease. It's a temporary assignment, maybe for 24 hours, maybe 7 days. If a device permanently disconnects, like a friend goes home after visiting your house, their lease eventually expires. That expiration lets the network automatically reclaim and reuse that unused IP address. Honestly, it's what makes really large networks incredibly efficient and scalable.
Section 5. Static versus dynamic addresses, choosing the right tool.
We've been talking entirely about the automated approach so far, but let's contrast it with the older, manual way to see exactly when you'd use which. Look at this comparison. On the left, we've got a static IP. This is manually configured, and it never ever changes. Why do we need that? Well, imagine a big database server. Apps are constantly connecting to it. If its IP address just randomly changed one day, every single application connected to it would instantly crash. So stable servers absolutely require a static IP. But on the right, we have the DHCP, dynamic IP, automatically assigned, totally temporary. That is absolutely perfect for environments with constantly moving pieces, like laptops, phones, or, a home network where guests are constantly joining and leaving.
Let's move to and see how this builds. Section 6. The big picture of automation, from homes to the cloud. Way beyond just your home Wi-Fi, DHCP is literally the backbone of huge enterprise networks, managing tens of thousands of devices. But it goes way farther than that, straight into cloud infrastructure like AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, and even modern container systems like Docker and Kubernetes. In these environments, you've got virtual machines and containers spinning up and shutting down every few seconds. Trying to manually manage network assignments there? No way. It would be entirely impossible without dynamic, automated network assignments running the show.
Before we wrap things up today, let's rapid fire through some common beginner mistakes, just to make sure you walk away with this absolutely locked in. Mistake 1. Thinking DHCP only gives out IP addresses. Actually, remember, it's also handing out subnet masks, gateways, and DNS settings. Mistake 2. Assuming DHCP addresses are yours forever. Nope, they are temporary dynamic leases. Mistake 3. Ignoring address conflicts. Unique identities are totally mandatory. And mistake 4. Thinking cloud networks are manually configured behind the scenes. As we literally just saw, the whole cloud completely relies on automated network protocols to even function. Which leads us to one final, really vital operational question. What actually happens if the DHCP server fails? Because it's so invisible, you'd probably never notice it, right up until it breaks. If DHCP stops functioning, no new devices can connect. At all. Users lose connectivity, enterprise systems can't onboard new resources. It's a massive deal. And that is exactly why cybersecurity teams constantly monitor DHCP servers, looking out for things like address exhaustion attacks or fake rogue servers trying to hijack your network traffic. So today we've uncovered how this one invisible, fully automated system, DHCP, seamlessly connects literally billions of devices every single day. The modern internet simply wouldn't scale without it. But wait. Now that your device has its own local IP address, how does it actually reach out to the wider internet? Especially since there are billions of devices out there, but a super limited number of public IP addresses. Well, that brings us to our next explainer. Nat explained how one public IP serves many devices. Until then, keep questioning how your tech connects behind the scenes, and I'll see you in the next explainer.